I attended service recently and the pastor started preaching and he was like, pray that God will kill your enemies, stuff like that. Just all about killing, 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 killing. If you allow a witch to live, the witch will kill you and will go to heaven when he repents and all that. I was like, okay, yeah, you're making sense, but you're making sense from the Old Testament. What did Christ say about loving your enemies?
Please forgive me.
Welcome to another episode of Christians, the Life of Christ. Today I'll be talking about what Christ means about loving your enemy. How would Christ say if somebody slap you on this cheek, you should turn the other cheek for the person to slap you again? Like, really? And I would start telling somebody that, look, if your brother offends you 70 times times 7 times and he comes back to tell you, I'm sorry for what I did, you should forgive the person. Like, how is it possible for somebody to even offend you 70 times 7 times? Now, the reason why I'm making this video is, like, we all think we have enemies. Fine, we do. You might think you have enemies, but when you're wasting your time in thinking of praying that God should kill your enemy, like, you don't know that you might be somebody else's enemy. And the person is praying. So if God keeps on killing everybody, the whole world will be empty, because you're somebody's enemy actually, knowingly or unknowingly. There is no way somebody does not despise you. So all the solution to every single thing on earth, as Christ had said, is love. That's what guides us as human beings. In Luke chapter 6 and from verse 27, the Bible says, but to you who are listening, I say, love your enemy. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Like, the church is so focused on preaching die by fire because that is what the people really wants to hear. Let me continue reading. It said, give to everyone who ask you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them to do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. Actually, that is true. Like in verse 32, I saw that verse and I started laughing. I was like, wow. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Like, a sinner on a normal ground will really love somebody that loves him, and he'll be like, if you don't love him, fine, stay on your own, I hate you too. What is the difference between me, like, and somebody else that is a sinner, right? If our character is the same thing towards the same situation, if you slap a sinner should slap you back. That is what he says. But if you slap a Christian, the Christian should turn the other part, like, guy, you could continue if you want to, because I'm not fighting you. I'm a lover, I'm not a fighter. So look at what Christ is saying now. What is the difference between you being a Christian and you being a sinner? That should show in your character. If you call yourself Christ-like, we should behave like Christ. I'm talking to myself too, because I know, like, I'm not judging anybody here. I'm just saying things in a normal ground over here, because personally too, I'm guilty of some of these things, and we talking about it or makes us better. Like, it's not really that easy for you to do these things, but practice, they say, makes perfect. And if we keep on practicing this thing every single time we find ourselves in situations like this, we become perfect in them. Be perfect even as your Father in heaven is perfect, because we do these things every single day and it makes us perfect in them also. Unconsciously, you don't know when somebody will slap you and you just turn the cheek, like you turn your other cheek for the person to slap, because it's something you've been doing. And there's also something I want you all to see in verse 43 of that same chapter 6 of Luke. It said, no good tree bears bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bears good fruit. Each tree is recognized by its own fruit. People do not pick fig from thorn bushes. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart, for the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Now, verse 45 is so heavy that I started thinking about it like, look, your heart is a storehouse. If you consistently love your enemies in this sense, the first day somebody tried slapping you and he succeeded in slapping you, and because you are still a sinner, you retaliated, but it took you a while before you could, because you just gave your life to Christ. It took you a while for you to retaliate, because your soul doesn't just change automatically when you give your life to Christ, right? So another instant it happened and you almost reacted, but you remembered that you gave your life to Christ. So you keep on storing these things consistently in your heart. Look, you only act from your own store. Like my mom would say, you act from your toolbox. When you have a situation on ground, you act from what you have inside of you. You can't react different to any situation when you have the same set of tools in your toolbox. If there is a problem now, like your car stops and you need spanner 10 to lose that nut, if you don't have spanner 10 and you have plier, it's plier you use to lose that thing. And if plier succeeded in losing that thing, if that thing is not that tight, fine. But if it is too tight, before you know, you want that nut out and you can't use that nut again. Even the plier start having issues later on because it's not used for the purpose of that plier has been abused. So let's learn how to love people and make this world a better place. Thank you all for tuning on to my channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And you can also leave a comment below if you're really blessed by this word. Thank you all for tuning in. Bye.
Walking alone on the coldest night. There's nothing I could ever